There are still places on Earth that continue to baffle even the most modern minds. Ancient sites, so massive, mysterious artifacts, so perplexing, and entire civilizations that once thrived, only to vanish without leaving a trace. These aren't myths or fairy tales. They're real historical enigmas, documented by archaeologists and historians alike, from gigantic stone blocks that challenge even today's engineering capabilities to submerged ancient cities lying deep beneath the ocean. We're about to embark on a journey into the unsolved mysteries of the ancient world, where history seems to defy its own rules. So buckle up as we dive into today's mystery. But first, hit that like and subscribe button for incredible luck before this video ends. Tomb of Qin Shi Huang. Nestled beneath the serene green hills of China's Shanxi province lies a location shrouded in both legend and historical intrigue. Tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unify China. For over 2,000 years, this grand mausoleum has remained untouched, guarded by thousands of life-sized terracotta warriors. It is also surrounded by countless tales of deadly traps, untold treasures, and secrets that have never seen the light of day. While the terracotta army has become one of the world's greatest archaeological discoveries, the central chamber, the resting place of the emperor himself, remains unexplored. The tomb complex near Xi'an spans a massive 56 square kilometers. Construction began when Qin Shi Huang was just 13 years old and was only completed after his death. According to historical texts, more than 700,000 laborers were mobilized for this monumental task, surpassing any other project of its time. Around the central mound are hundreds of burial pits, filled with clay soldiers, horses, and chariots. Each statue was crafted with incredible precision, every face and armor detail unique, as though each one had once lived. The historian Sima Qian described the tomb as a majestic underground palace, a miniature version of the emperor's empire. Inside, according to ancient records, were flowing rivers of mercury, representing China's great rivers designed to flow forever. The ceiling was said to be embedded with pearls to mimic a starry night sky. Even officials, treasures, and palaces were buried to accompany the emperor in the afterlife. Traps like automated crossbows were supposedly rigged to fire at intruders. Some legends claim that craftsmen were buried alive to ensure no one ever disclosed the tomb's secrets. Modern scans using cutting-edge tech have revealed structures beneath the mound. Soil analysis has shown unusually high mercury levels, matching Sima Qian's ancient descriptions. Yet, no one has dared to excavate the main chamber. Why? Experts fear that opening the tomb might irreversibly damage its contents. When the terracotta warriors were uncovered, their vibrant paint faded in minutes when exposed to air. Moreover, mercury in the soil poses serious risks akin to a massive chemical hazard if not handled carefully. Current preservation methods are still inadequate for handling fragile materials like silk or ancient scrolls on such a scale. Beyond science, cultural and spiritual values play a major role. In China, disturbing imperial tombs is considered deeply disrespectful. Qin Shi Huang is more than a historical figure. He is a national symbol of unity and power. Even the government hesitates to release detailed data, with some believing the world isn't ready for what the tomb might reveal. Some daring theories even suggest the chamber may contain lost technologies or knowledge far beyond our current understanding. Every year, millions visit the terracotta army, but the central burial mound, rumored to hold China's greatest emperor, remains untouched, a silent testament to a past cloaked in secrecy and power. The lost tomb of Genghis Khan beneath Mongolia's endless sky and sweeping steppe lies a mystery that has endured for more than 800 years, one that still resists all attempts at discovery. This is the lost tomb of Genghis Khan, the man who built the largest empire in recorded history. Despite his legendary status, no physical trace of his final resting place has ever been found. How could the grave of such a monumental figure remain completely hidden? And could his tomb contain the legendary riches amassed across the vast Mongol Empire? Somewhere among the wild mountains and sprawling grasslands of northern Mongolia, the burial site remains beyond the reach of archaeologists and treasure hunters alike. Genghis Khan died in 1227, but no one has determined where his body lies. Unlike China's terracotta army or Egypt's pyramids, his grave has left no visible clues. According to legend, the emperor himself ordered a burial in total secrecy. Even the secret history of the Mongols the oldest chronicle of Mongol life, only notes the year of his death, never the place. Marco Polo, who lived under the reign of Genghis Khan's grandson, wrote that even the Mongols didn't know the tomb's location. Some stories say that during the return of Genghis Khan's body from battle, his escort killed anyone who saw them. Another tale claims 2,000 funeral attendees were executed and the executioners themselves killed so no one could leak the secret. Others say horses trampled the burial ground to erase any sign. Some say rivers were redirected or forests planted to hide it. A haunting folktale speaks of a young camel buried with Genghis Khan, and how its grieving mother returned for years helping descendants locate the site, yet no document has ever revealed the exact spot. Modern researchers believe the tomb may lie near Rohonc Codex, a sacred mountain linked to his birth and spiritual life. Despite drone surveys and satellite imaging efforts, every dig has been blocked by locals, who consider the land sacred and refuse to allow disturbance. Crowdsourced projects involving tens of thousands of volunteers have combed imagery, but still, nothing conclusive. The mystery of Genghis Khan's tomb runs deeper than location. If found, it could hold treasures and artifacts from across the empire, from China to Persia. There are even claims of curses, guardian spirits, and fatal accidents, haunting search teams. But for the Mongolian people, it's about respect. Genghis Khan wasn't just a conqueror, he championed religious tolerance, established postal systems, and introduced paper currency. To disturb his grave would dishonor their cultural heritage. Even with today's advanced tech, Mongolia's Khenti region remains remote and forbidding. Genghis Khan's tomb remains lost, perhaps forever shielded by the vast steppe, quiet rivers, and the ghostly gallop of unseen horses through the fabric of time. The giant of Castelnau. In the winter of 1890, in the quiet village of Castelnau, anthropologist Georges Vacher de Lapouge unearthed something astonishing: 3 massive bone fragments buried within a Bronze Age burial mound. These bones belonged to a human estimated to be over 11 feet tall, an extraordinary height, far beyond known human biology. Could this be real evidence of a race of ancient giants, or just a bizarre scientific error? During his dig, Vacher de Lapouge uncovered a section of femur, part of a tibia, and a large piece of arm bone. Published in the journal Alley Nature, the measurements were staggering. The femur was 14 centimeters wide and had a 16 centimeter circumference. The tibia measured 26 centimeters. From this, he estimated the being stood 3.5 meters tall and weighed hundreds of kilograms. Lapouge insisted the bones were undeniably human despite their size. The remains were sent to the University of Montpellier for further analysis. Experts from zoology, paleontology, and anatomy agreed they appeared to belong to an unusually tall human. They noted the possibility of gigantism or rare bone disorders, but left the door open to more mysterious origins. In following years, more discoveries surfaced. Massive skulls and bone fragments, some believed to belong to humans between 10 and 15 feet tall, were uncovered near Montpellier. These were reportedly submitted to the French Academy of Sciences, and then disappeared. Without explanation, the mystery only deepened as modern scholars revisited the case. In 2022, anthropologist Catherine Hocken proposed that the bones may have actually come from a now extinct giant bear species. Back in the 19th century, misidentifying animal bones as human was more common due to limited anatomical knowledge. But if these were simply bear bones, why did Montpellier's experts insist they were human? And why, even now, has no modern scientist ever reanalyzed them? The mystery of the Castelnau giant has transcended archaeology. It touches myth. From Greek cyclopes to biblical Nephilim, nearly every ancient culture tells of giants. In Castelnau, locals still speak of a cave that once housed a giant. Newspapers at the time claimed Lapouge's find might be the key to unlocking those legends. Some even speculate these remains could belong to a lost race or even extraterrestrial visitors, though no scientific proof has surfaced. Archaeology is no stranger to hoaxes. The Cardiff giant, an infamous buried statue meant to fool the American public in 1869, is one such example. But the Castelnau case is harder to dismiss. The bones were analyzed by serious experts and published in respected journals, and yet they vanished. Today, no one knows where the bones are. They've never been studied with modern technology, and so the question remains, who or what was the giant of Castelnau? But if such a being truly existed, Why has no other evidence ever surfaced, especially in a region so rich in archaeological discoveries? And if it was all just myth, why does the story still endure, persisting across generations, challenging the limits of what humanity dares to believe? Longyou caves, hidden beneath the lush green rice fields of Liu County in Zhejiang Province, China, rests one of the most perplexing archaeological discoveries of the modern era. It is called the Longyou Caves Complex. The story of Longyou began entirely by accident. In the summer of 1992, a local farmer decided to drain a large water-filled depression near his home to reclaim land. What he uncovered beneath the still water shocked everyone. An immense cavern, its walls perfectly flat, its surfaces marked with evenly carved, parallel grooves. The patterns looked almost machine-made, too precise to believe they were the work of human hands over 2 millennia ago. News of the discovery spread rapidly, igniting excitement across the village. Curious neighbors began draining nearby pits, only to reveal more of these mysterious chambers. What emerged was astonishing: an entire underground world of over 20 interlinked caverns, as if an entire city had been carved beneath the earth. What makes Longyou one of the most confounding mysteries in archaeology is not just its scale but its impossible precision. Each chamber stretches over 30 meters high. The walls are smooth, the ceilings domed, the columns placed with perfect symmetry. Every visible surface is covered with rhythmic, wave-like patterns, broken continuous grooves that flow from ceiling to floor, as if etched by advanced tools. And yet, no human remains were found, no tools, no pottery, no sign that anyone ever lived here or even worked here. So, who built the Longyou caves? Based on erosion patterns and other geological evidence, archaeologists estimate that the caves could be more than 2,000 years old, dating back to the Qin or early Han dynasty. But not a single written record exists. No ancient Chinese texts mention anything remotely resembling Longyou. How could a project of this magnitude, a feat requiring vast manpower and planning, simply vanish from the historical record? Many theories have been proposed, yet each only raises more questions. Some suggest the caves were ancient granaries. Others believe they were wartime bunkers or long-forgotten imperial tombs. A few Western researchers speculate that Longyou was a sacred site, perhaps a hidden ceremonial complex. But the most perplexing detail lies in the carvings. Every single cave bears the same patterns, identical in style, depth, and direction. This suggests a single vision, a unified directive, a workforce following advanced design standards. Were these built by a civilization we've never known? Could these be the remnants of construction techniques lost to time beyond even our modern capabilities? Today, the Longyou caves lie silently beneath the fields. There are no entry fees, no crowds, no headlines, only quiet stone and questions. Until a deeper truth is uncovered, Longyou remains a monument to forgotten knowledge, a reminder that human history still holds secrets buried beneath our feet. It speaks to the pages of history yet unwritten, the stories untold, and the mysteries that will continue to haunt the dreams of future explorers. The Baalbek megaliths deep in the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, once a vibrant crossroads of ancient civilizations, stands the town of Baalbek. At first glance it appears to be just another ancient ruin, weathered stones, broken columns, time-worn temples, but behind its crumbling facade lies one of the most staggering architectural mysteries in human history. At the heart of one of the most baffling engineering mysteries in the ancient world lies Baalbek, and within it, 3 legendary stones, known as the Trilithon. Each of these stones measures nearly 20 meters in length, more than 4 meters in height, and weighs between 750 and 800 tons. To put that into perspective, each stone is as heavy as a Boeing jet airliner. These megaliths are stacked atop one another, forming the base of what would later become the Temple of Jupiter, constructed by the Romans in the 1st century AD. But here's the enigma. These blocks are so massive, so impossibly heavy, that even modern machines would struggle to lift or move them. There exists no record of Roman tools or cranes capable of handling stones of such overwhelming weight, and yet they were placed with perfect precision, not far from the temple. Within an ancient quarry, even larger blocks have been discovered. Among them is the stone of the pregnant woman, estimated at nearly 1,000 tons. Nearby lies another block weighing 1,242 tons. But the most astonishing find came in 2014, when archaeologists uncovered a stone weighing a staggering 1,650 tons, believed to be the largest stone ever shaped by human hands. Strangely, these colossal stones remain in the quarry, never transported. Questions that have haunted historians for decades: who carved these stones? Why were they abandoned? And how did the ancients ever hope to move them? Numerous theories have been proposed. Some researchers argue that the Romans may have used wooden rollers or massive earthen ramps to haul the stones from the quarry to the temple site. But this explanation quickly falls apart under scrutiny. Roman cranes, even at their most advanced, were only capable of lifting 60 to 100 tons, nowhere near the weight required. There is also no physical evidence of any complex system of machines or transport technology at Baalbek that could have solved this problem. This has led many scholars to propose a far more radical idea, that the foundation stones of the Temple of Jupiter were not placed by the Romans at all but by a much older, far more advanced civilization. Supporters of this theory point to architectural similarities between Baalbek and other megalithic wonders like Sacsayhuaman in Peru or the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Could these impossibly massive blocks be remnants of a forgotten era, when ancient people possessed technologies and knowledge that have since been lost? Despite decades of research, the mystery remains unsolved. No ancient texts describe how the stones were transported. No tools have ever been found. Only the monoliths endure silent, immovable, and untouched by time. They remain as both a triumph of ancient ambition and a question that modern science still cannot answer. The Devil's Bible. Inside the vaults of Sweden's National Library lies one of the most mysterious and chilling manuscripts ever created by human hands. It is known as the Codex Gigas, more famously, the Devil's Bible. Regarded as the largest surviving medieval manuscript, the Codex is astonishing not just for its immense physical size, but for the haunting legends and dark energy that seem to cling to its pages, echoing across nearly 800 years of history. The book is colossal, nearly 75 kilograms, and measuring 92 centimeters long, 50 centimeters wide, and 22 centimeters thick. It is so massive that even a grown adult must use both arms to lift it. Experts estimate that its creation required hundreds of sheets of calfskin just to form the parchment. But it is not only its dimensions that make the Codex Gigas so infamous. What truly sets it apart is the dark lore that surrounds its stories of curses, unholy pacts, and a monk who dared to defy death. According to a legend that dates back to the 13th century, the book was written by a Benedictine monk in Bohemia, region now part of the Czech Republic. This monk had committed a terrible crime, the nature of which was never recorded, and he was sentenced to one of the cruelest punishments of the medieval world, to be bricked up alive within the walls of the monastery. In desperation, the monk begged the abbot for mercy, pleading to be spared from such a gruesome fate. They say one man once dared to contain all of human knowledge in a single book. According to legend, a monk in the Middle Ages, condemned to death by his own monastery, pleaded for mercy. He made a desperate vow: if granted one night, he would create a manuscript encompassing everything from the Holy Bible to the mysteries of science, medicine, history, and magic. It was, of course, an impossible feat for any mortal. And so, the tale turns darker. That very night, the monk is said to have turned to the one force that could fulfill his promise, the devil himself. In a desperate pact, he offered his soul. The story claims that Satan appeared and helped him complete the manuscript by dawn. As a token of this unholy alliance, the monk painted a haunting portrait of the devil himself, grotesque and unmatched in any known religious manuscript, placed directly in the center of the book. This is the infamous Codex Gigas, better known as the Devil's Bible. Yet strip away the legend, and the truth still astounds. Modern researchers believe the manuscript was written in the early 13th century, at the Podlavas monastery, but the true mystery lies in its structure. Over 620 pages, the handwriting remains eerily consistent as if penned by a single hand, with no variation in style, spacing, or ink. It seems almost superhuman. The Codex Gigas contains not just the entire Latin Bible, but also ancient knowledge texts on history, anatomy, astrology, magical rites, and even catalogues of demons and spells. Its most infamous feature is that towering image of Satan with gleaming eyes, a serpent-like tongue, and sharp claws painted without context, alone on a page. Too many. It's not art, but a curse, a symbol of the book's dark origins. And some believe the curse lingers. Over the centuries, the Codex has traveled through war and ruin. In 1648, Swedish troops seized it during the 30 Years' War, taking it to Stockholm where it remains today. Yet wherever it has appeared, people whisper of disaster, plagues, invasions, and the downfall of empires. Even now, the Devil's Bible draws theologians, historians, and the curious, hoping to decipher its secrets. But as long as its pages remain only partly understood, it will stand as a monument, not just to knowledge, but to humanity's enduring obsession with the forbidden. Buried beneath layers of dry soil and ancient stone on the Anatolian plateau of modern-day Turkey lay another mystery, one forgotten for nearly 12 millennia. That mystery is Göbekli Tepe. In 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt uncovered something extraordinary. At first glance, it was just another hill, but as he struck the earth with his spade, he unearthed something that would redefine human history. What emerged stunned the world. Massive stone circles carved from limestone, their pillars rising as high as 6 meters and weighing tons. But it wasn't just their size that amazed, it was their age. Göbekli Tepe is over 11,000 years old, older than Stonehenge, older than the Egyptian pyramids, older even than agriculture and the wheel. It was a monument to something profound, created by people who should not, by our understanding, have been capable of such engineering. These were hunter-gatherers, not city-builders. And yet, they built this. The pillars, many shaped like a T, are adorned with stunning carvings, lions, bulls, snakes, and mysterious symbols. Each image whispers ancient truths, reflecting a worldview lost to time. The deeper mystery. Around 8000 BC, those same builders intentionally buried the entire site as if trying to hide it from future generations. That act of burial, though puzzling, preserved the structure so completely that it has reached us nearly intact. Göbekli Tepe doesn't just shift our understanding, it shatters it. It suggests that organized religion or ritual belief may have sparked civilization itself, not the other way around. And it asks questions we still can't answer. Who were these people? Why did they build this place? And why hide it so deliberately? As its stones rise once more under the Turkish sun, they do more than rewrite the past. They remind us that our story is far older, far stranger, and far more mysterious than we ever imagined. Modern archaeology has faced countless enigmas, but few compare to this one. The tales that surround it are not just dusty myths. They are vivid reflections of our unending thirst for discovery and our growing frustration with mysteries that remain untouched. It was 1945. American pilot James Gosman, during a transport mission over the rugged northwestern mountains of China, claimed to witness something extraordinary, a massive pyramid lying in the valley below. He described its 4 faces as shining bright white, gleaming in a way that defied logic. It was almost too incredible to believe. But then, just 2 years later, in 1947, another pilot, Maurice Chahon, came forward with a similar account. Not only did he confirm what Gaussman had seen, but he also managed to capture a few blurry black and white photographs of the strange structure. When those images and reports reached the West, they sparked a wave of excitement across archaeological circles and media outlets alike. But with the end of World War II came new barriers. China slowly began to close its borders to foreign researchers. The area where the White Pyramid was reportedly located soon fell under tight governmental control. Only a select few local scholars were ever granted access to explore the region. Official Chinese reports dismissed the idea of any such monument existing. Instead, they described the structures as nothing more than burial mounds built for ancient emperors, dating from the Qin to Tang dynasties. They insisted that no white pyramid of enormous scale, as described by the American pilots, had ever existed. Yet, in the decades that followed, satellite imagery released by both Western and Russian sources painted a different picture. These high-resolution images showed multiple pyramid-like formations scattered across the region of Shanxi. Some of these structures tower between 50 and over 100 meters in height, dwarfing even the iconic pyramids of Egypt. One particularly fascinating detail remains at the center of this mystery: the legend of the shining white surface. According to local oral traditions, the main pyramid was once entirely coated in pure white limestone, or perhaps a kind of white clay. This outer layer reflected sunlight so strongly that it made the structure appear to glow, a radiant presence amid the dull, mountainous backdrop. Some Western researchers have drawn direct comparisons to the Great Pyramid of Giza, and even claim that the so-called White Pyramid might have been larger. Estimates suggest it could have reached a height of 300 meters, with a base perimeter exceeding 450 meters, figures that would surpass even the wonders of Egypt. But who, then, built such an immense monument, and why? Theories surrounding the White Pyramid are as varied and as elusive as the monument itself. Some archaeologists maintain it was no more than a royal burial mound, a grand symbol of imperial power. But mystery seekers have offered more daring speculations that the White Pyramid may be a remnant of a long-lost civilization, one that predates even the earliest recorded Chinese history. Others suggest that it could have served a spiritual or astronomical function, much like the pyramids built by the Maya. Intriguingly, many of the pyramids in the Xionshi region appear aligned with star constellations, a pattern that echoes the celestial arrangement of Egypt's pyramids. Some theorists even go as far as to propose an extraterrestrial link, imagining the pyramid as a relic of alien contact. Fascinating as it sounds, no hard evidence has ever emerged to support this. But regardless of theory, all speculation eventually crashes into one immovable truth. To this day, no researcher from outside the Chinese archaeological establishment has been permitted to fully excavate or scientifically study these structures. In fact, many of the tombs remain untouched to this day. A traditional Chinese belief warns against disturbing the resting place of an emperor, for doing so may invite calamity. That very belief has only intensified the pyramid's aura, transforming it into a powerful emblem of what must not be touched. It stands as a silent threshold between fact and legend, a riddle that no one has yet solved. Even now, satellite images continue to show hints of massive structures beneath the earth in this forbidden region, but the truth, it seems, remains buried. Covert expeditions have only deepened the mystique surrounding the White Pyramid. It remains not just a forgotten wonder, but a bold challenge to those who yearn to uncover the buried layers of human history. Could it be that beneath its veil of earth and stone lies a chapter of civilization yet to be written? And will the day ever come when that secret entrance is finally breached, revealing to the world the colossal monument that once stood along the banks of the Yellow River? The Black Sarcophagus of Alexandria, among the most sensational archaeological finds of the 21st century in Egypt. Few have captured global attention like the discovery of the mysterious Black Sarcophagus in the summer of 2018. It all began at a routine construction site on Al-Karmeli Street in Alexandria City, once celebrated as the cultural, intellectual, and political jewel of the ancient Mediterranean world. As construction crews dug the foundations for a new building, they accidentally struck a massive stone object buried deep underground. Archaeologists were quickly called to the site. After excavating nearly 5 meters of soil and debris, what emerged was staggering: a rectangular coffin hewn entirely from black granite. It measured nearly 2.7 meters in length, 1.5 meters in width, and stood over 1.8 meters tall, weighing close to 30 tons. Its size dwarfed nearly every other sarcophagus ever discovered in Alexandria or anywhere else in Egypt. Lying nearby was an alabaster bust, its features smoothed away by centuries of wear, leaving the identity of the tomb's occupant even more shrouded in mystery. Unlike royal or aristocratic coffins, which are typically engraved with hieroglyphs, carvings, or painted with the names, titles, or achievements of the deceased, this black sarcophagus bore no markings, only a faint plaster seal, eroded by time. Its anonymity fueled a wave of speculation. Could this be the hidden tomb of a historically significant figure, someone whose identity was deliberately concealed? Or was it the burial site of a person whose role in a chaotic era had been intentionally erased from the records? Rumors and conspiracy theories erupted. Some dared to speculate that it might hold the remains of Alexander the Great himself, legendary founder of the city whose tomb has remained lost for over 2,000 years. Others feared a deadly curse, echoing the eerie legends that haunted Egyptian tombs ever since. Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun. Public interest reached a boiling point in July 2018, when archaeologists announced plans to open the sarcophagus. Due to its massive size and the potential for toxic gases or biological contamination, The operation involved modern lifting equipment and tight safety precautions. When the lid was finally cracked open, the team braced for the unknown. But instead of an immaculate mummy or glittering treasure, a wave of putrid air escaped the coffin, an odor born of stagnant water that had leaked inside over thousands of years, mixing with decomposed human remains into a thick, reddish-brown sludge. As bizarre as it sounds, the story took another surreal turn. Wild rumors flooded social media. Some individuals even requested to drink the sarcophagus water in hopes of gaining supernatural abilities, prompting Egyptian health authorities to issue official warnings. Forensic analysis soon uncovered the truth. The sarcophagus held the remains of 3 individuals, 2 men and 1 woman, stacked atop one another. There was no evidence of royal status, no gold, and no elaborate funerary goods. One of the skulls bore fractures, suggesting death by violence or in battle. Further analysis of the teeth, bones, and carbon samples dated the remains to around the 4th century BC, corresponding to the early Ptolemaic era. Alexandria was once among the world's most prosperous cities, yet what puzzled scientists was why such a rare, enormous, and expensive granite sarcophagus would be used to bury 3 ordinary individuals, laid to rest without ceremony, and with no inscription to mark their names. Some theorized they might have belonged to a forgotten noble family. Others believed they were soldiers who died during chaos, or perhaps high officials who were deliberately erased from history for political reasons. Another possibility, a religious taboo may have led to their names being intentionally erased from all memory. The use of black granite for the sarcophagus is remarkable in itself. This rare stone would have had to be transported from Aswan, hundreds of miles south of Alexandria, requiring massive resources, labor, and wealth. Why such a precious, enduring material was used for an anonymous burial remains a mystery. The discovery of the black sarcophagus is more than just an archaeological event. It's proof that history has its own way of burying the strangest tales and forgotten lives right in the heart of a city once known as the Jewel of the East. It stands as a reminder that, even after thousands of tombs and treasures have been unearthed, Egypt still guards countless secrets, slumbering silently beneath the ground. The Piri Reis map mid the Mediterranean sea breeze of the 16th century, a great mystery quietly emerged onto the faded parchment of a Turkish cartographer. It was the Piri Reis map, a historical legacy that remains both strange and profoundly challenging to everything modern science believes it knows. Drawn in 1513 by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, the map has astonished researchers for centuries, not only because of its precision but because of certain details that appear to go far beyond the scientific understanding of the Middle Ages. Today, only 1/3 of the map survives. Yet even this fragment is enough to make scholars east and west alike scratch their heads in disbelief. Clearly marked on the map are the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and most baffling of all, the northernmost part of Antarctica, a continent not officially discovered by modern humanity until more than 300 years later. Even more astonishing, the map shows Antarctica not covered in ice, as if drawn before the last ice age. The mystery deepens with Piri Reis's own notes. He claimed to have relied on over 20 older maps, dating back to Greek and Roman times, and even some said to be from Columbus himself. But not one of those sources can explain the accuracy of the coastlines or the presence of ice-free Antarctica. Many theories have tried to explain this enigma. Some researchers believe Piri Reis inherited ancient knowledge that modern humanity has long since forgotten. Some even speculate that a lost civilization like Atlantis once existed and possessed advanced surveying skills far beyond our historical record. Others argue it's nothing more than patchwork guesswork, the result of hearsay, sailors, tales, and cartographic embellishment. Whatever the truth, it remains unsolved. The Piri Reis map is more than just an ancient document, it's a mirror, reflecting the limits of human perception. How could a 16th century admiral draw such accurate features of lands barely even imagined at the time? Was there really a prehistoric civilization with global knowledge, or is it simply a cosmic coincidence of history? Though the answer still escapes us, the map remains on display in the Topkapi Palace Museum in Istanbul, a silent challenge to every generation that follows. It tells a story, not just of seafaring bravery, but of the power of curiosity, the hunger for discovery, and the deep mysteries humanity has yet to unravel. The vanishing of the Clovis people. The story of the Clovis people began in the 1930s, when archaeologists uncovered a set of unusual, finely crafted stone spear points near the city of Clovis, New Mexico. These razor-sharp tools were later dated to around 13,000 years ago, evidence of an advanced and enigmatic hunting culture that once thrived in North America. The Clovis are remembered as masters of stone technology. Their weapon-making techniques were so advanced that even modern scientists continue to study them. They survived by hunting now extinct megaphononyms, giant deer, and North American camels. With their sharp tools and hunting skill, they endured the harsh, unforgiving conditions at the end of the Ice Age. Then suddenly they were gone. The entire Clovis culture vanished from the archaeological record in just a few hundred years. Scientists remain divided on what caused their disappearance. One leading theory points to climate change. As the Ice Age ended, rising global temperatures and rapidly shifting ecosystems led to the extinction of the large animals the Clovis depended on, dragging the people who hunted them into collapse. Other researchers believe the cause was even more dramatic: a meteorite impact. Evidence of cosmic material, glass-like spherules, carbon dust, and signs of massive wildfires has been found at multiple sites from the same period. Could a cosmic disaster have wiped them out in a single blow? Or did the Clovis simply migrate elsewhere, evolving into or merging with other indigenous cultures we have yet to fully identify? The mystery of the Clovis people isn't just a North American puzzle, it's a global parable, a powerful reminder of how vulnerable even the most innovative civilizations can be when faced with nature's fury. Their disappearance warns us that no society is immune to collapse, not even those that seem to master their world, and yet their story continues to inspire. As archaeologists dig deeper and analyze every flake of stone and layer of earth, the Clovis culture remains a symbol of resilience, of mystery, and of the enduring human drive to understand the past. It urges us to ask deeper questions, not only about their fate but about our own place in history. On the fragile, time-worn pages of a manuscript tied to the town of Rohonc lies a mystery that has perplexed generations. This enigmatic book, spanning over 400 leaves, is filled with characters that do not resemble any known alphabet. The writing system presented within it is utterly unique, featuring thousands of symbols that bear no resemblance to any recorded language or historical script. This cryptic manuscript, known today as the Rohonc Codex, becomes even more baffling when one examines its contents. Over 80 illustrations are scattered throughout its pages, offering scenes of daily existence, religious ceremonies, armed conflict, and symbolic religious figures. Some of these images bear a striking resemblance to Christian iconography, yet they are strangely fused with elements of Islamic and pagan symbolism, creating a cultural puzzle that is exceedingly difficult to untangle. Who penned this mysterious manuscript? Why create an entire writing system that no one else can read? And most importantly, what message was intended to be passed down through the ages? Over the years, countless researchers have ventured theories. Some suggest it was a sacred prayer book used by a now-vanished sect hidden deep within Central Europe. Others believe it to be a coded documentation effort by an ancient religious group to shield its teachings from outsiders. Yet a different school of thought, led by modern academics, questions the very authenticity of the Codex. They propose it may be an elaborate hoax, possibly crafted in the 19th century to test the limits of scholarly inquiry and spark endless fascination. Regardless of its true origin, the Rohonc Codex has proven itself a relentless keeper of secrets. Linguists, cryptographers, and historians have all attempted to crack its code, employing everything from digital analysis to cutting-edge linguistic methods. Despite their best efforts, the book has not revealed even a single decipherable sentence. Its symbols continue to resist translation, staring back at humanity as a reminder of how much remains unknown. In an age when technology has unraveled long-lost scripts, from ancient dead languages to inscriptions hidden within Egyptian tombs, Rohonc Codex remains untouched by progress. Like many of the world's deepest mysteries, it stands as a quiet challenge to the belief that all things can eventually be known. The stone spheres of Costa Rica, nestled within the lush green rainforests and sprawling southern lowlands of Costa Rica, lies another ancient enigma. Scattered across the landscape are hundreds of stone spheres, massive, almost perfectly round, relics that rest silently like ancient guardians of a forgotten people. These unusual artifacts, often called las bolas, or the Jiki spheres, have confounded archaeologists since their unexpected discovery nearly 100 years ago. The first spheres came to light in the 1930s, when banana plantation workers were clearing land for the United Fruit Company. As they leveled the jungle terrain, they stumbled upon something extraordinary: stone orbs, both immense and small, hidden beneath the earth as though placed there with great intention. Some of these mysterious objects emerged from the earth, no larger than a volleyball, while others reached over 2 meters in diameter and weighed as much as 16 tons. Crafted from granodiorite stone of exceptional hardness, they were shaped using techniques that even modern machinery finds impressive for their perfect symmetry and polished surfaces. Although several archaeological sites hint that the spheres may have originated sometime between 600 AD and the 16th century, no ancient records have ever described how they were made or what purpose they served in society. Experts attribute the stone spheres to the Dis culture, a once thriving civilization that mysteriously vanished before the Spanish ever arrived in the region. Countless theories attempt to decode the mystery of these stone spheres. Some suggest they symbolized cosmic or spiritual power, possibly arranged to mirror the stars, functioning as an ancient form of astronomical tracking. Others believe the spheres may have marked the borders of settlements or served as ceremonial objects in religious rituals. More recent archaeological excavations have revealed that in some instances, the spheres were placed in front of the homes of elites or community leaders, potentially to denote their wealth or status. Yet, none of these explanations can be confirmed, because the people who crafted these spheres left behind no inscriptions, writings, or carvings to explain their intentions. In the centuries that followed, modern human activity has unfortunately inflicted great harm upon these artifacts. During the 20th century, many spheres were dug up and relocated to gardens, parks, or were even smashed open in the belief that gold might be hidden inside. An idea rooted in local folklore. It's only in recent decades that both the Costa Rican government and UNESCO have started to fully recognize the cultural and historical significance of the spheres. This awareness has led to stronger efforts in preservation and scholarly research. Today, the stone spheres of Costa Rica stand as relics of a lost civilization, showcasing the meticulous skill, boundless creativity, and patience of ancient artisans. They also present us with lingering questions. How did a society lacking metal tools or even the wheel manage to carve and move such massive stones with such precision? Are these simply artistic achievements, or is there a forgotten message embedded in them, waiting to be understood by future generations? Now imagine traveling even further back in time, about 10,000 years ago, when the North Sea wasn't a vast ocean but a rich green expanse of fertile land. That place was Doggerland, known as the Atlantis of Europe. It once linked England to the mainland of Europe. Then, in a catastrophic shift, rising sea levels and a colossal tsunami submerged the land, erasing it from the map and leaving only whispers buried beneath the sea. Doggerland once stretched from what is now Scotland across to the Netherlands, encompassing a wide landscape of meadows, forests, rivers, and wetland plains, named after Doggerbank, submerged sandbar in the North Sea. This ancient land was home to Mesolithic hunter-gatherers. They roamed freely, hunting mammoths, reindeer, and red deer, fishing the lakes, and gathering wild berries and chestnuts from the thick forests. But what became of this lush world when disaster struck? Around 10,000 BC, the last ice age drew to a close, and with its retreat, glaciers began to melt, gradually raising global sea levels. As the water encroached upon low-lying lands, one of the regions slowly overtaken was Doggerland, a vast stretch of land that once connected what is now Britain to continental Europe. Roughly 8,200 years ago, a massive underwater event, as the Storegga submarine landslide off the coast of modern-day Norway, unleashed a powerful tsunami. This cataclysmic wave swept across the North Sea, submerging large portions of Doggerland beneath the waves. Yet, not all was lost immediately. Some experts suggest that northern regions of Doggerland, sheltered by hills and dense forests, may have remained above sea level for centuries, resisting the inevitable. But by approximately 5,500 BC, even these elevated remnants were overtaken, and Doggerland disappeared entirely beneath the North Sea. This lost landscape has long fascinated both archaeologists and imaginative thinkers. Some speculate controversially that Doggerland may have been the true inspiration for Plato's Atlantis, though there's no solid proof. The idea stems from Doggerland's immense plains and the suggestion that it may have supported a flourishing, prehistoric culture. To others, Doggerland serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of nature's unpredictable power and of the dangers of climate change. Over time, the North Sea has yielded countless relics from this drowned world: mammoth tusks, flint tools, fossilized footprints, each one a tiny echo of the life that once thrived there. Then in 2019, a submerged forest was discovered, breathing new hope into the search for human settlements buried and preserved under layers of seabed mud. But so far, no definitive signs of towns, homes, or cities have emerged. For centuries, Doggerland was entirely forgotten, its existence unknown, until the 19th century, when fishermen began pulling bizarre artifacts from the sea floor. Today, modern archaeologists employ seismic scanning data, often from oil companies, to reconstruct maps of this hidden land, while fossil hunters comb the Dutch shores, collecting traces from a world long gone. Yet with every new discovery, more questions emerge. Was Doggerland merely a natural land bridge, or did it serve as a hub of culture and trade in Neolithic Europe? And what can we learn from its disappearance, especially as modern coastlines face rising seas? The story of Doggerland is not just the tale of a sunken land, it's a poignant reflection of human vulnerability in the face of environmental upheaval, a challenge to us all to uncover the secrets still hidden beneath the waves of the North Sea. Now, we shift to another ancient mystery, one that lies not beneath the ocean, but in the granite quarries of ancient Egypt. More than 3,500 years ago, on the blazing cliffs near the Nile, the Egyptians began work on what would have been the largest obelisk ever constructed, carved straight from the red granite bedrock of Aswan. This massive monument was destined for greatness, till a fatal crack appeared, and the entire structure was abandoned, unfinished, right where it lay. This monument, now known as the Unfinished Obelisk of Aswan, remains embedded in its quarry to this day, an enduring testament to both ambition and misfortune. Archaeologists believe the obelisk was commissioned during the 18th dynasty, likely by Queen Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's most powerful female rulers. The plan was to raise it at the Grand Temple of Karnak, among the many obelisks that once stood as symbols of divine authority and pharaonic pride. Had it been completed, this towering stone would have measured an astonishing 41.75 meters in height, twice as tall as the obelisks we see at Karnak today, and weighed nearly 1,200 tons. That's roughly the combined weight of 200 African elephants. What makes the unfinished obelisk even more extraordinary is the precision with which it was carved. Ancient Egyptian stoneworkers used nothing more than dolerite hammers than the granite itself to chisel and shape this immense block directly from the bedrock. But partway through, a deep fracture split the granite, the structural integrity was lost, and the work, despite its scale and the immense labor invested, was abandoned entirely. Today, it lies partially detached from the stone beneath it, still embedded in the northern quarry of Aswan, about 2 kilometers from the modern city center. It is both a monument to what might have been, and a window into the engineering genius and challenges faced by ancient artisans. 3 sides of the obelisk have already been shaped with remarkable precision, their surfaces smoothed with astonishing accuracy. But what sets this obelisk apart is not just its unfinished state, it's the valuable clues it provides about how the ancient Egyptians managed to carve and move such immense blocks of stone. Archaeologists have found that they likely used stone's hard, round pounding tools to hammer, shape, and polish the granite. To detach the obelisk from the surrounding bedrock, they bored small holes along the cut lines. Into these holes, they placed dry wooden wedges, which were then soaked with water. As the wood absorbed moisture, it expanded, gradually forcing the granite to crack cleanly along the intended path. A key find in 2005 at the Aswan quarry revealed not only the base of an unfinished obelisk, but also nearby rock engravings, suggesting this very quarry may have birthed iconic monuments like Cleopatra's Needle in London, and perhaps even some of the massive stones used in building the Giza pyramids. But why was this particular project suddenly halted? Historical accounts suggest that a large crack formed in the granite, prompting workers to abandon the colossal stone. Yet some believe the explanation might not be so simple. While it's possible that quarrying mistakes or natural imperfections in the granite caused the fracture, Others offer more provocative theories. Some researchers suspect that the break may have coincided with a seismic event, such as an earthquake or even a period of civil or political upheaval during Queen Hatshepsut's reign. More fringe hypotheses propose something even more mysterious, that the obelisk could be a relic from an ancient advanced civilization, its true function tied to celestial energy, perhaps even acting as a type of cosmic antenna aligned with the stars. While these ideas lack firm scientific support, they persist, especially given that the obelisk's design appears to mimic the Benbin, the sacred mound in Egyptian creation myths. It was believed that the sun god Atum first emerged upon this mound to give birth to the world, which gives the obelisk profound symbolic weight beyond mere stone. What remains even more baffling is the sheer magnitude of the project. Weighing around 1,200 tons, this would have been the largest object the ancient Egyptians had ever attempted to extract and move. How did they intend to transport it over 200 kilometers to Karnak, especially when their known boats likely couldn't support such an enormous mass? Some records suggest they may have relied on massive wooden barges and exploited the seasonal flooding of the Nile to carry the stone downstream. But for this particular obelisk, no specific transportation plans have been documented. There's speculation that Queen Hatshepsut's vision may have exceeded the logistical capabilities of her era, and yet the near completion of 3 sides suggests the workers came heartbreakingly close to achieving their goal before the crack changed everything. Could it have been more than a technical failure? Was the project cursed, or perhaps derailed, by a political shift that erased it from historical memory? Today, the unfinished obelisk at Aswan remains not just a monument of ambition. It is a haunting reminder of the limits even the most advanced ancient civilizations could reach. Was the crack merely an accident of flawed quarrying, or a divine message carved in stone? Thousands of years ago, long before machines, this towering vision was born from solid granite, and in its silence, it still speaks. The unfinished obelisk, resting in the Aswan quarry, already reveals 3 of its faces, each etched with smooth and precise craftsmanship. What makes this monument truly remarkable isn't just its massive scale, but the tantalizing clues it offers about how the ancient Egyptians may have quarried and transported such colossal stones. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence that dolerite balls were used to pound and smooth the granite surfaces. To free the obelisk from its bedrock, workers drilled a series of small holes along the cut line, inserted dry wooden wedges, then added water. As the wood expanded, it cracked the stone exactly along the intended path. A major breakthrough came in 2005, when an unfinished obelisk base and rock carvings were discovered at the same Aswan site, strongly indicating this quarry as the source of many legendary monoliths, including Cleopatra's Needle now standing in London, and granite blocks used for the iconic pyramids at Giza. But why was this massive project left incomplete? According to surviving records, a large crack appeared in the granite during the process, forcing the workers to abandon the task. Yet this crack is only the beginning of the mystery. Some scholars argue it was simply a result of quarrying errors, or possibly a natural flaw in the rock itself. Others, however, suggest more provocative theories, that a catastrophic event, perhaps an earthquake or political upheaval during Queen Hatshepsut's reign, interrupted the project. And in fringe circles, there are those who believe the obelisk was not just a monument, but a remnant of a far more advanced civilization. Some claim obelisks may have served as space antennas aligned with the constellations. There's no scientific proof for these ideas, yet they persist, especially since the obelisk's shape is believed to mimic the Benbun, the primordial mound from Egyptian creation myth, where the sun god Atum is said to have first emerged to bring the world into being. That another mystery lies in the scale. Weighing in at 1,200 tons, this unfinished obelisk would have been the largest stone ever attempted by the Egyptians. How did they plan to move it over 200 kilometers to Karnak? Boats along the Nile at the time were incapable of bearing such weight. Historical records mention wooden rafts and the strategic use of the Nile's summer floods for transportation. Yet no specific records exist for this particular monument. Some scholars suggest Hatshepsut's vision may have exceeded the technological limits of her era. Still, the fact that 3 sides of the obelisk were almost fully carved suggests they came incredibly close to completing it before disaster struck. Could there have been something more, perhaps a curse, or political sabotage that brought the entire effort to a sudden halt. Today, the unfinished obelisk of Aswan remains as a silent witness to the ambition and ingenuity of ancient Egypt. But it also serves as a sobering reminder that even the mightiest empires had their breaking points. Was the crack merely a technical error, or could it have been a divine warning? Some believe the temple may be the work of an ancient, forgotten civilization, one that possessed knowledge or technologies far beyond what we understand today. Subtle markings on the stone traces that resemble drilling and the nearly flawless, linear cuts throughout the structure have fueled theories involving extraterrestrial tools or lost advanced ecclesiology technology. Another perspective proposes that was the outcome of a vast cooperative effort, where master craftsmen from various regions came together. Archaeologists suggest that artisans from the Chalukya and Pallava dynasties contributed, infusing elements of South Indian architecture into the temple's design. Yet even this theory fails to account for one crucial mystery. There are no remnants of massive construction tools or nearby stone quarries. Was this ancient knowledge passed down through generations, only to vanish with time? Or did it disappear along with the builders themselves? In a strange twist of fate, the Kailasa temple was almost erased from history in the 17th century. The Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb ordered the demolition of the monument, sending 1,000 men to carry out the task. For 3 long years, they tried and failed. Their efforts resulted only in a few scratches on the temple's facade and the destruction of some minor statues. The sheer hardness of the basalt and the unmatched strength of the structure made their mission impossible. Kailasa stands today, untouched and defiant, a powerful symbol of human will, artistic genius, or perhaps something far more mysterious. Like so many enigmas from our past, the Kailasa temple guards its secrets in silence, waiting for someone to unlock the ancient truths hidden within its stone. The lost library of Alexandria, in the vibrant heart of Alexandria city, established by Alexander the Great around 330 BCE, once stood one of the most legendary intellectual landmarks in human history. The Library of Alexandria, founded during the reign of Ptolemy I Soter and reaching its peak under Ptolemy II Philadelphus in the 3rd century BC, the library formed a central part of the Mausianan academic sanctuary devoted to the Muses. Within its walls, the greatest minds of the ancient world, scholars, poets, and scientists, gathered and thrived. Historical estimates suggest the library housed between 200,000 and 700,000 papyrus scrolls. These texts included masterpieces by Homer, Plato, and Aristotle, as well as rare works from Persia, Egypt, and India. But this institution was more than a collection of scrolls. The Mausian was a living, breathing center of discovery. It was here that Euclid laid down the foundational principles of geometry. Eratosthenes famously calculated the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy. Archimedes invented groundbreaking devices that would reshape future generations. What truly made the Library of Alexandria extraordinary, however, was its relentless ambition. The ruling Ptolemies dispatched emissaries across the world to seek out and collect texts. Even ships arriving at the port of Alexandria had their manuscripts temporarily seized, copied meticulously before being returned. The library employed renowned librarians like Aristarchus of Samothrace, who refined and standardized the texts of Homer. Every scroll was carefully catalogued, translated into Greek, and in some cases rewritten, ensuring preservation and accessibility for future scholars. Though some ancient texts may be preserved today in marble-floored vaults, no physical structure of the Library of Alexandria remains, and our understanding of it comes entirely from scattered historical records. So, what caused the destruction of this legendary center of knowledge? The fall of the Library of Alexandria is wrapped in myth, debate, and uncertainty. Many have long believed that a catastrophic fire was responsible for the loss of the entire library, but the actual story is much more layered. One of the earliest figures suspected is Julius Caesar. In 48 BC, during his civil war with Pompey, Caesar ordered the burning of Egyptian ships docked in the harbor of Alexandria. The fire quickly spread to nearby buildings, reportedly destroying large parts of the city. Some ancient sources claim that up to 40,000 scrolls may have been incinerated in the flames. Yet, historians like Strabo, who visited Alexandria after the event, still describe the library as a functioning institution, which suggests that the entire collection wasn't destroyed in that single fire. Another theory centers on the 4th century AD, during the time when Christianity became the Roman Empire's official religion. Emperor Theodosius I issued orders for the destruction of pagan temples, which included the Serapeum, a major temple in Alexandria. This structure housed a secondary or daughter library affiliated with the main one. Some accounts even hold that Muslim conquest of Alexandria in 642 AD responsible. According to one story, General Amr ibn Alas allegedly ordered the burning of all books, using them as fuel to heat the city's bathhouses. However, this tale only appears in 13th century Islamic writings, and because it doesn't exist in earlier sources, many historians question its credibility. Modern scholars now believe that the Library of Alexandria didn't fall in a single cataclysm, but rather declined slowly over centuries. Beginning in the 2nd century BC, the ruling Ptolemaic dynasty began to lose power, and with it, royal patronage for the library weakened. Ongoing wars, political chaos, and the city's gradual cultural decline all contributed to its fading into obscurity. So what exactly was lost in that slow collapse? We can never be entirely certain, but the disappearance of the Library of Alexandria is often cited as one of the greatest losses of human knowledge in recorded history. Original manuscripts by thinkers like Sappho, Euclid, or Aristotle may have vanished forever. Some theorists even believe the library contained scientific works on subjects like mathematics, astronomy, and engineering that, if preserved, might have pushed our civilization centuries ahead in technological advancement. Others go even further, suggesting the scrolls may have held ancient wisdom from even earlier cultures, perhaps from Babylon or even forgotten legendary civilizations. Still, some scholars believe key texts may have been copied and relocated to other archives before the library's complete downfall, and so we're left to wonder, if those papyrus scrolls had survived, would our world look very different today? Or are their secrets still hidden, waiting to be uncovered in some undiscovered archive? Roman dodecahedrons. Since their first unearthing in 1739 in Aston, England, over 130 Roman dodecahedrons have been discovered across northwestern Europe, from England, France, and Germany to Hungary and Switzerland. Oddly, however, not a single one has ever been found in the city of Rome itself. These curious artifacts, typically made of bronze, are 12-sided polyhedrons, with each face shaped like a perfect pentagon. At the center of each face is a circular hole, with diameters varying between 6 mm and 40 mm. Each corner of the dodecahedron features a small knob, projecting outward, giving the impression of careful, deliberate craftsmanship. Their sizes range from that of a golf ball to a grapefruit, and their weights span from 35 grams to more than a kilogram. What truly distinguishes these objects is their sophisticated metal. To produce such a geometrically complex shape in the 2nd to 4th centuries AD would have required advanced casting techniques, implying access to considerable skill and resources. This suggests they were not merely decorative trinkets. Many of these dodecahedrons have been discovered alongside hoards of coins, reinforcing the idea that they were valuable possessions, perhaps even status symbols. And yet, no clear evidence indicates that they were used as functional tools. So what were they? Countless theories have been put forward in an attempt to explain the true purpose of the Roman dodecahedrons, but none have been definitively proven. One of the most commonly accepted ideas is that these artifacts may have been religious items, used in rituals or ceremonies, particularly within the Gallo-Roman world where Roman culture met and mingled with Celtic tribes in northern Europe. Some archaeologists suggest that these enigmatic objects may have been used in mystical or prophetic rites. It's believed they might have been deliberately hidden, especially since Roman laws under Christian influence strictly forbade magical practices. Adding weight to this theory is the discovery of a dodecahedron in the grave of a woman in Belgium, as well as one found near a statue of a horseman in Norton, Disney. Could it be that these unusual artifacts served as a tool for divine communication? Another hypothesis suggests that Roman dodecahedrons were some form of measuring device, possibly used to determine distances during warfare or to calculate the angle of sunlight for farming purposes. Yet, this idea faces criticism due to one glaring issue: a complete lack of standardization. No two dodecahedrons are the same in terms of size or the dimensions of their holes. The mystery only grows deeper when we realize they are entirely absent from Roman records Not a single scroll, document, or sketch has ever mentioned these objects. Were they so commonplace that no one thought to document them? Or were they so esoteric, so carefully guarded, that only a select few were even aware of their existence? Some researchers go as far as to speculate that the dodecahedrons were linked to prohibited rituals, perhaps explaining why they are found primarily in the distant, lesser-known regions of the Roman Empire. Today, Roman dodecahedrons are scattered throughout European museums, from the Lincoln Museum in England to the Gallo-Roman Museum in Belgium. Each artifact serves as a silent monument to a secret the Roman world never wrote down and possibly never meant to reveal. The Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, on the rugged cliffs near Qumran on the West Bank. A young Bedouin shepherd, searching for a lost goat, accidentally hurled a stone into a cave and heard the sharp crash of pottery shattering. Inside, he found ancient clay jars containing scrolls, astonishingly well preserved, made from parchment and papyrus. This accidental discovery led archaeologists and local Bedouins to explore 11 caves around Qumran. What they unearthed would rewrite biblical scholarship. Approximately 981 manuscripts, fragmented into more than 25,000 pieces, representing nearly 800 original texts. These ancient scrolls are dated between the 3rd century BCE and the 1st century CE, making them the oldest known versions of the Hebrew Bible and related texts ever discovered. The Dead Sea Scrolls fall into two primary categories. Roughly 40% are biblical manuscripts, covering nearly every book of the Hebrew Bible. The remaining texts include 30% sectarian writings, like the Community Rule, the War Scroll, and commentaries on the Book of Habakkuk. The final 30% come from the Second Temple period and include ancient texts like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. Among the most mysterious of these manuscripts is the Copper Scroll, an inventory listing 64 secret locations where caches of gold and silver are supposedly buried. But who authored these scrolls, and why were they hidden? Many scholars attribute them to the Essenes, devout Jewish sect known for their ascetic lifestyle in the Qumran region. Others argue the scrolls may have originated from temple libraries in Jerusalem, hidden in the desert caves to protect them from Roman forces during the Jewish revolt. That rebellion ultimately led to the destruction of the Second Temple. In its wake, sacred writings may have been deliberately hidden to preserve them from destruction or theft. What makes the Dead Sea Scrolls truly extraordinary isn't just their age, but the mystery surrounding their purpose, origin, and survival. A rare glimpse into a lost chapter of spiritual history that nearly vanished forever. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls profoundly challenged our previous understanding of the Bible. Prior to their unearthing, the oldest surviving version of the Hebrew Bible was the Leningrad Codex, dated to 1008 AD, but the scrolls predate this by a full millennium, and despite the vast time gap, they show a remarkable consistency with the later Masoretic text. This astonishing similarity affirms the extraordinary precision with which Jewish scribes had transmitted the scriptures across generations. Yet, the intrigue doesn't end with textual accuracy. Some daring interpretations propose that the scrolls may harbor hidden knowledge, forbidden teachings, or ancient prophecies that religious authorities once considered too dangerous to be widely known. A few researchers even speculate that these writings may link to the secret doctrines of fringe Jewish sects, perhaps influencing early Christian figures like John the Baptist, whose purification rituals bear a notable resemblance to those practiced by the Essenes. Another enduring mystery surrounds the way the scrolls were stored, placed carefully in sealed jars and hidden deep within caves. Were they protected in anticipation of conflict, or were they sacred teachings intended only for a select group? There are no historical documents that explain this concealment, and the caves themselves show no signs of habitation, no tools, no remnants of daily life. One theory suggests the act of hiding the scrolls may be connected to the Jewish tradition of Genghis, a ritual in which worn but holy texts are respectfully buried to prevent desecration. The moving stones of Death Valley, the remote and scorched expanse of Death Valley, a strange natural phenomenon, has confounded scientists for over 100 years. On the cracked sun-baked ground of Racetrack Playa, a dry lakebed, large stones seem to move on their own, silently gliding across the desert floor and leaving behind long winding trails. No one has ever witnessed their motion directly, and yet the mysterious tracks etched into the dry mud are undeniable. Racetrack playa straddles the California-Nevada border inside Death Valley National Park. It's here that the so-called walking stones perform their silent journey. Some stones move in straight lines, others trace sharp curves, or abruptly shift direction, almost as if guided by an unseen force. Strangely, not all stones move in unison. Some have stayed motionless for decades, only to suddenly slide across the ground as if awakened from sleep. In 2011, scientists Richard Norris and Jim Norris launched a detailed investigation to uncover the secret. They equipped 15 stones with GPS devices, installed a weather station, and positioned time-lapse cameras throughout the playa. The team anticipated waiting 5 or even 10 years for movement, but in an unexpected breakthrough, just 2 years later, in December 2013, they observed the phenomenon with their own eyes. More than 60 stones drifted across the playa, carving fresh trails in the sediment. Their research revealed the cause. A rare combination of conditions must align. First, rainfall must collect in the basin to form a thin layer of water. The Dead Sea Scrolls, secrets hidden for centuries. Their discovery challenged everything we thought we knew about the Bible. Before these ancient scrolls came to light, the oldest known copy of the Hebrew Bible was the Rohonc Codex, dated to 1008 AD, but the scrolls were found to be a full 1,000 years older, and yet, incredibly, they bear a remarkable resemblance to the later Masoretic text. This astonishing match proves how meticulously Jewish scribes preserved the sacred writings across centuries. But that's only the beginning of the mystery. Some bold researchers believe the scrolls may hide forbidden knowledge, secret teachings, or prophecies that were considered too dangerous by religious authorities of the time. There are even theories linking them to hidden doctrines followed by ancient Jewish sects. Some scholars have suggested these texts may have influenced early Christian figures, including John the Baptist, whose purification rituals are eerily similar to those practiced by the Essenes. One mystery remains unsolved. Why were the scrolls sealed and hidden away in clay jars? Were they simply being shielded from the chaos of war? Or were they never meant for public eyes, reserved only for a chosen group of initiates? No written records from that era explain their concealment, and the caves offer no signs of human life. No tools, no cooking fires, no beds. Some experts think this could be an example of Genghis, a Jewish tradition where sacred but damaged texts are respectfully buried to prevent desecration. The walking stones of Death Valley, deep within the cracked, sun-baked land of Death Valley, California, one of the most puzzling natural phenomena on Earth, has played out for over a century. Scattered across a desolate, dried-up lakebed known as racetrack playa stones, some as small as pebbles, others as heavy as a man, silently glide across the desert floor, leaving long trails in the hardened mud behind them. No one had ever witnessed them move, and yet the tracks were undeniable proof. Some rocks leave straight lines, others twist and curve as if following an invisible hand. Stranger still, not all stones move at the same time. Some sit still for decades, then, seemingly overnight, shift position and leave a fresh trail. In 2011, scientists Richard Norris and Jim Norris decided to solve the riddle once and for all. They installed weather stations, deployed time-lapse cameras, and placed GPS trackers on 15 stones. They expected to wait a decade or more for results. But just 2 years later, in December 2013, something extraordinary happened. Over 60 stones began to move across the playa, right before their eyes. The scientific revelation: the team discovered a very specific and very rare chain of conditions needed for the phenomenon to occur. First, a shallow pool of rainwater, about 7 to 10 centimeters deep, forms over the playa, but it must remain shallow enough not to completely submerge the stones. Then, as night falls, the water freezes. A delicate sheet of ice, just 3 to 6 millimeters thick, forms on the surface. The scientists named it windowpane ice. With the morning sun, the ice begins to melt, cracking and shifting with the light breeze. This melting sheet of ice gently nudges the stones forward, some moving just inches, others traveling up to 224 meters. Their trails can remain visible for years, until rain and wind erase them once more. This discovery debunked previous theories, including powerful hurricane force winds, slime layers of algae, magnetic pull from the Earth, and even theories of magic or extraterrestrials. But even with the mystery explained, questions remain. Why don't all the stones move at the same time? Can the heaviest ones, some weighing over 320 kilograms, move by the same delicate process? Racetrack Playa. He remains a humbling reminder that even in an age of technology, nature can still defy expectation and stir the imagination. The Lost Labyrinth of Egypt. More than 2,500 years ago, an ancient Greek historian claimed to have seen something that stunned him more than the Great Pyramids themselves. A massive underground complex, filled with thousands of rooms, sacred inscriptions, and mural-covered walls hidden beneath the burning sands of Egypt. He called it the Labyrinth of Hawara, but then it vanished. For centuries, it was dismissed as a myth, a legend, with no proof. That is, until 2008, while excavating near the pyramid of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the last mighty ruler of Egypt's 12th dynasty, archaeologists uncovered astonishing ruins in the Fayoum oasis, about 90 kilometers south of Cairo. They believe these ruins might be the long-lost labyrinth that Herodotus himself described after visiting Egypt in the 5th century BCE. According to his account, the labyrinth was a two-level complex containing nearly 3,000 chambers, half above ground and half beneath it. 12 roofed courts, 6 aligned to the north, 6 to the south. One stood in precise symmetry, each linked by winding corridors and passageways. Exquisitely carved pillars rose beside walls richly adorned with hieroglyphs and vivid murals. Each courtyard was encircled by white stone columns, joined so seamlessly that not a blade of grass could pass between them. Herodotus once wrote, "If all the works of the Greeks were put together, they would not equal this labyrinth in labor and expense," and he was not alone in his awe. Ancient writers like Strabo, Diodorus, Siculus, and Manetto also spoke of a sprawling stone complex at Hawara, with some even claiming to have walked through its maze-like depths themselves. Yet, oddly enough, the ancient Egyptians never referred to it as a labyrinth. To them, it may have served as a vast mortuary, complex built to protect not only kings, but also sacred crocodiles once worshipped in the region. Herodotus recalled that a temple keeper refused him entry to the underground chambers, saying they held the tombs of the builders and the remains of these holy crocodiles. The entire complex was enclosed by a massive outer wall measuring 385 meters in length and 158 meters in width, making it larger than both the Karnak and Luxor temples combined. But even with its rediscovery in 2008, the mystery deepened. Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities ordered that the excavation results be sealed from the public, citing reasons of national security. Louis de Cordia, the lead researcher from the Matterhorn expedition, waited nearly 2 years for permission to release his findings. When no reply came, he published the details online for the world to see, and then silence. No further major excavations were permitted, and access to the site remains highly restricted. Why would a discovery of this scale of find that could rewrite history be kept from the world? Could the Hawara labyrinth still hide secrets that authorities aren't ready to reveal? One theory suggests the complex was built to guard the tomb of Pharaoh Amenhotep III and his daughter, a tomb that may hold treasures, sacred texts, or knowledge from an older, forgotten civilization, perhaps even older than Egypt itself. Some believe the labyrinth was designed to disorient intruders, to guard its secrets with intentional complexity, but not everyone is convinced of its grandeur. Some modern scholars argue that Herodotus and his contemporaries may have exaggerated, blurring myth with memory. Beneath a shallow layer of water just 7 to 10 centimeters deep, something strange happens. Though the stones remain exposed, nighttime temperatures plunge below freezing, forming a fragile sheet of ice only 3 to 6 millimeters thick. Scientists called it windowpane ice. Then, as the morning sun rises, the ice begins to melt. This thin layer, combined with subtle winds, creates just enough force to gently push the stones across the desert floor. During the winter of 2013 to 2014, researchers recorded one rock gliding an astonishing 224 meters. These trails can linger for years, 3 or even 4, until weather and wind erase them entirely. This natural explanation replaced earlier theories that were far more dramatic. Hurricane-force winds reaching 150 kilometers per hour, mysterious algae layers, even Earth's magnetic pull or alien activity. And yet, despite this elegant solution, some mysteries remain. Why do some rocks move while others stay completely still? Can enormous stones, weighing over 300 kilograms, also shift in the same delicate dance? The racetrack plier is a quiet but powerful reminder. Nature can still surprise us, but perhaps we haven't uncovered everything about these walking stones just yet.